We're now in our 40th year as a company. Those 40 years have gone by pretty fast. I want to take you back to the foundation of our company. Maybe I'll take you back to the year before starting Melaleuca. It was December 1984. I was a vice president with Cox Communications, living in Vancouver, Washington. We had just built our dream house in Vancouver, and I got a phone call from my good friend, Roger Ball. He wanted me to come help him start a new business. It was a multi-level marketing business called Oil of Melaleuca. I didn't know anything about multi-level marketing back then, and in my opinion, I had one of the greatest jobs on the planet. I simply wasn't interested in moving to Idaho Falls, Idaho. But Roger presented me with a bonus plan that I just couldn't ignore. I wanted to raise my family in Vancouver, and as I said, we had just finished building our dream house there. But I couldn't ignore the bonus plan that Roger presented to me. In fact, if everything went as planned, I'd be able to pay off our entire mortgage on our home in just 18 months. So I promised I would come help them start this new company. But I want to be clear, it was all about the money. I told him I would live in Idaho Falls for 18 months, and then I would go back to Vancouver to raise my family. Now, when I arrived in Idaho Falls, I soon learned what multi-level marketing was all about. People could earn to the very top status of gold koala by purchasing $5,000 worth of starter kits. Or you could become a silver koala for only $2,500. But all the products smelled like Melaleuca oil, and no one was using the products. It didn't take long for me to start asking myself the question, what in the world have I gotten myself into? My employer had already hired my replacement, so I was stuck. It didn't take long for me to learn that the company was doing a lot of things that were against everything that I believed in. I'd spent the first 13 years of my business career working for 2 Fortune 500 companies. And both of them had ethical business models of selling products that people really wanted, rather than simply getting people to invest in inventories with the promise of getting rich quickly. That's what I believed in. Selling products that people chose to purchase because they were a higher quality and a better value. But now I'd gotten myself involved with something totally different. I soon decided I didn't want to have anything to do with multi-level marketing. But now I was torn. I'd gotten to know some of the good people in that company that were simply looking for a way to get ahead in life. Rob and Sherry Diaz, Jim and Debbie Rathjen, Ron and Camille Frazier, Gwen and Wayne Winters, Bonnie Alexander, Joe and Sandy Weiss, Carlos and Ellen Galvez. Good people who had joined that MLM company simply because they wanted to get ahead in life. They weren't movers and shakers. They weren't big-time money earners. They were simply good, hard-working people that needed to find a way to make ends meet. And I felt there was no way that I could abandon them. Having climbed the corporate ladder and having been fortunate enough to have had several promotions in my young career, I clearly understood the plight of most people in the business world who have to depend on someone else to decide whether they get a promotion or a raise. And I thought, wouldn't it be great if we could design a program, a vehicle, where people could get ahead in life based on their own merits, where they could give themselves a raise or give themselves a promotion. But in my mind, it had to be based on the essential business concept of people purchasing products because they really want the product, rather than purchasing more stuff in order to qualify for a bonus. In other words, it couldn't be an MLM. At that point, I needed to make another decision. And that was whether I was willing to invest the rest of my life in helping others get ahead in life rather than looking out for my own selfish interests. I knew I would have to give up on my dream of moving back into our dream house and raising my family in Vancouver. But I had caught the vision that there would be much more merit and personal fulfillment in helping others reach their goals rather than focusing on my own material well-being. I told Roger Ball and his brother Alan that I wasn't willing to do the MLM thing. And I told them we needed to close that company down, but that I would try to develop a product line based on natural, safer consumer products that would have repeat purchases. And I promised that I would design a compensation plan that would compensate people based on real customers purchasing products that they really wanted, rather than a gimmick-based system that enticed people to purchase inventories. It would not be a get-rich-quick scheme, but I felt that if we built it right, the monthly repeat income to our marketing executives would last for generations. That was the goal. So we adopted the business slogan of building a business to last a lifetime. I announced that the mission of our new company would be to enhance the lives of those we touch by helping people reach their goals. To me, that mission statement meant that the focus of the company would not be on making money, but rather our focus would be on enhancing lives. The rest is a story of amazing good fortune. I don't talk about it a lot, because what happened then is simply hard to believe or even understand. It was like I was being led by an invisible hand. I was able to find a number of scientists and experts who were willing to help. I was introduced to an amazing scientist from Salt Lake City who had developed a phenomenal line of natural cleaning products, but he didn't know how to sell them. I told him we could help him do that. That's where we got the original formulas for Mellopower, Tough and Tender, Mellomagic, and Pre-Spot. I hit the road to announce to the marketing executives of the previous company that we were doing away with multi-level marketing and starting a new company based on the sale of exceptional products at reasonable prices. I suggested that they join us. Many didn't, especially those with an MLM background. They said we'd never make it because we didn't allow people to buy large amounts. But a few understood the vision, and they stuck with us. We launched the new company, Meluka Inc., on September 1, 1985. In the following months, I was introduced to several other doctors and scientists, and I partnered with 2 universities to develop an entire line of natural products. Our company began to flourish. 3 years later, I met a genius scientist named David Mitchell, who developed and patented a new process called fructose compounding that made minerals much easier to absorb. It was a scientific breakthrough. It rivaled amino acid chelation, and it put us on the map in the field of nutrition. In 1990, Inc. magazine recognized Melaleuca as the 37th fastest growing privately held company in the nation. Fructose compounding was the foundation that more recently our Melaleuca scientists used to develop a new patented process called oligo, which makes minerals even more absorbable than fructose compounding, and in addition, reduces free radicals. And now all of our nutritionals are based on that astounding patented process called oligo. We now have the Peak Performance Pack, backed by several human studies that document it's the most powerful and most effective nutrition formula on the planet. Over the years, our own PhDs and our own scientists have developed, discovered, and patented a huge number of innovative formulas we call jaw droppers, based on natural ingredients that are safer and more effective than anything you can find in the grocery store. And we've now partnered with a number of other outside scientists who work exclusively with Melaleuca to unlock the secrets of nature and find solutions to many health challenges that are created by pesticides, herbicides, and other chemicals that pollute our air, our water, and our food supply. And here we are, January 2025. And we find ourselves in a very unique position. We're now the largest and most successful direct selling company in the United States. Tens of thousands of new customers enroll with us every month. Customer retention is at an all-time high, and our future looks extremely bright. Now, I want to be clear. I think it would be wrong for us to take credit for what has been created here. We've had way too much good fortune to suggest that we created this by ourselves. I don't pretend to know the reason we've received all of these blessings that go far beyond anything I ever dreamed of. But I feel a huge responsibility to take care of this stewardship that we've been entrusted with. And that stewardship has never been more impactful on families than it is today. And I'm eternally grateful for the many who threw in with us and believed in us when there was nothing to believe in. And for the thousands who joined us along the way to help us fulfill our mission of enhancing lives. We've now paid out over $7.5 billion in commissions and bonuses to average households like yours. 2024 was one of Melaleuca's most successful years in our history. In today's world of inflation, financial uncertainties, and world unrest, people need Melaleuca more than ever. I love hearing the stories of the many lives that have been changed. We'll hear more of those stories today. Those stories are even more impactful today because of what is going on in the world of direct selling. While Melaleuca has been prospering, much of the direct selling arena has been crashing down. A significant number of business builders who have joined us over the last year had previous experiences with MLM. They know what I'm talking about. As we've said since the beginning, multi-level marketing is simply not a successful business model. That's because MLMs almost always focus on getting people to buy excessive inventories rather than focusing on selling products to end consumers. Any business that does not focus on the sale of legitimate products to end consumers is doomed to fail. They've always failed. But they're now failing at a much faster rate, one after another. Avon used to be the largest direct seller, and they used to have a legitimate business model. But then, several years ago, they turned Avon into a multi-level marketing company. Predictably, it failed miserably. Avon filed for bankruptcy just a few months ago. And just 2 months ago, another MLM icon, Tupperware, also filed for bankruptcy. Now, why am I talking about MLM? It's because hundreds of thousands of distributors are now looking for a home. Many are leaving those MLMs on their own accord, and some are being forced to leave these failed companies. They're good people looking for a safe place with a bright future. And they're finding their way to Melaleuca. Over the past 12 months, dozens of multi-level marketing companies have failed, one after another. In addition, many companies like Max International, Isogenics, Visalis, doTERRA, Young Living, Shackley, and countless others are having challenges. Others who were once thriving MLMs have given up on the MLM model. Rodan and Fields, Beachbody, Unique, and Saint have all announced that they are changing from a multi-level marketing model to what they call an affiliate model, which basically means that they're throwing their distributors to the curb. They've abandoned their distributors overnight. Some are leaving their distributors without any commissions whatsoever after many years of hard work. While Melaleuca's revenues and profits in the United States and Canada have grown substantially over the past 2 years, two of the largest MLMs in the United States, Herbalife and Nu Skin, have suffered tremendous declines in both revenues and profits. The stock price of both of these MLM icons are at all-time lows. In fact, based on today's stock price, Melaleuca could purchase Herbalife's entire company for less than 6 months of Melaleuca's revenues. I find that astounding. Yes, we could buy their entire company with just 6 months of our revenues based on today's stock price. Even more astounding, at today's stock price, Melaleuca could purchase Nu Skin with just 10 weeks of our revenue. That blows me away. And if we were to make those purchases, and let me be clear here, we're not going to do that. But if we did, Nu Skin would come with over $400 million of debt, and Herbalife would come with over $2 billion of debt. Now you've got to ask yourself, how did those companies get into so much debt over the years? And as you know, Melaleuca has no debt whatsoever. Now, I don't know of any other company our size that can say that. I want to be clear. Nu Skin and Herbalife are iconic. They're run by good people with good intentions. It's the business model that isn't working. And why does Melaleuca continue to prosper while these companies struggle? Is because of the difference of our business model and the differences in our product line. Again, a company that focuses on sales to its own distributors rather than sales to actual consumers is doomed to fail. That's the difference between Melaleuca's model and the MLM model. In fact, 82% of all of those who purchased from Melaleuca last month are strictly customers. They do not receive commissions or bonuses. They just want superior products because they want to live healthier lives. And yet, over 96% of everyone who purchased from Melaleuca last month will purchase again this month. That's why Melaleuca is prospering. Do you remember the commercial where 7-Up claimed to be the Uncola? Well, Melaleuca is the un-MLM. That's why we're succeeding while the MLMs are failing, because our business model is the opposite of multi-level marketing. Believe me, we take no joy in the failures of others. We agonize for their distributors and the many people who've believed in the MLM model. Those good people are seeking a home where they know they can have a future. They want substance, not hype. And they can find it here with us. Millions are looking for a healthier life. They want safe, natural ingredients that they can trust. With the recent changes in our nation, we believe that there's going to be a lot more focus on healthy ingredients in this country and around the world. And as people become more educated, they will choose Melaleuca. And others who are struggling financially, who want to take charge of their lives and get out of debt and experience financial freedom, will choose Melaleuca. And don't forget, most of our new customers simply join us because they want to live a healthier, more vibrant life. There's never been a better time to be building a Melaleuca business.